Thank you for being here today. My name is Shami. I am the Technical Sales Manager for the Overseas Business Department at Wellintech. New things are happening in industries, and one of the new things is digitalization. And industries are focusing on, gradually focusing on digitalization. So they're exploring various strategies to enhance their automation and information software solutions. And Wellintech focus right there to help customers and businesses to build robust automation and information, especially production information systems, as they are key systems for industries' digitalization strategies. It is essential to understand that digitalization is happening and industries are going through some technological transitions. And this transition is making businesses more towards informational and digital. And this transition is due to technological complexity that had happened over time. And this technological complexity has led to the generation of a huge amount of data. And this data, this big data that we have in all these industries, is the key driver or the enabler for this transition from industrial to informational. And the other two enablers that we have is the cloud and the AI. And when these three key enablers or key drivers, we can say, are put together, we have giant industrial internet platforms. But in this ecosystem, the data is the king here, as without comprehensive data collection in the process data or data collection in the industry, there is not much of use of the cloud and the AI. And Wellintech offers comprehensive data collection system, monitoring and control system, production and information systems with an industrial database that can handle huge amount of data in order to, so it can be a, we can build, if we want to build a digital factory, there must be a single source of truth, which it means there should be a huge database to handle all those process data. And it should be connected with all the systems in the upper management, including and the shop floor. So we have in the future, the transition that is happening is more towards making the factories digital. We have digital factories. Wellintech has a number of product lines, starting from data collection platforms. We have King IO Server. One of them is based on Windows, and the other one is based on Linux. And these systems are, we call it data connectivity platform, meaning this system, the King IO Server, has huge amount of drivers to collect real-time data from the shop floor. It can be PLC, it can be a CNC machines, it can be maybe some smart meters, or it can be some third-party systems like software systems like OPC servers, or maybe maybe another SCADA system, or another maybe any other software system, so including hardware, which has interfaces to integrate with other with other systems. So this system supports around 6,000 communication drivers. These are drivers for PLC, CNC machines, smart boards, RTUs, GPRS communications, etc., etc. And we support in terms of vendors. You can there are famous vendors such as Siemens, ABB, Rockwell, or including Kyland. So we have, if we go through a list, we have around 1,600 manufacturers that is supported by this platform in order to build a comprehensive data collection on the shop floor. On the top floor, we have something called monitoring platform, where usually the SCADA and the large historian databases reside. And we have a number of platforms here. And the main platform is KingSCADA, and today's focus will be on the KingSCADA. Such as King Historian is a huge database to tackle a large amount of big data. It's an industrial database. It's different from the SQL Server and other database. So it's then we have King SPC for statistical process control. We have King Super SCADA. It's more based on Linux to build information security projects, not traditional SCADA software. We have KingView, which is basically a machine level SCADA software like HMI, if you need an HMI or a low cost, a SCADA. So we have a number of systems, monitoring systems that are designed, in a way that are market specific, that can meet the needs of the, growing market demands, the technological complexity that are coming in terms of communications, in terms of protocols, in terms of, new vendors are coming into the market. So we always adjust, we always improve these systems in terms of comprehensive data collection and the features. So we can use this platform to build, let's say KingSCADA, especially we can build after we have a comprehensive data collection system on the shop floor. We can build equipment monitoring system, centralized monitoring, plant level monitoring, remote monitoring. So this is a monitoring system that we can. These are the monitoring systems that we can build using KingSCADA. And today's focus will be on the this system. On top of that, we have information software, which are large production systems. Let's say you have a factory, maybe on the line level you have some SCADA system, but if you want to manage multiple factories, if you want to manage enterprise level, let's say you have 2-3 factories, so you want to manage all of them in one system. So that means you need a very large system where you can gain insight, you can do analytics on the data, and so here in this level, basically everything is smart, everything is digital, starting from smart manufacturing. If you are a customer, or if you are a company from oil and gas, so we have digital oil field or maybe smart oil and gas systems. For mining industry, we have smart mine systems, like for this one, the King Mine. King Mine is basically, it's a large MES system, manufacturing execution system. So so these systems are production systems that are tailored to specific industries. And when we connect all of this in one place, we have large industrial internet platforms, including cloud and the AI. Okay, so in summary, Wellintech offers automation systems, especially software. We do not have any hardware. We have information systems, and we can connect all of this to build a large internet platforms. And if you, I think, some of the maybe people here are maybe from the Siemens or maybe Schneider or Rockwell, So if you put them in the context or in parallel with this other vendors here, the platforms that we have, for example, for data collection, maybe most of them maybe in Europe, or they're familiar with maybe Capware or Metricon. These are so they're now a part of PTC. I think Capware is a part of PTC. And then if you have on the top, for example, iFix uses Capware on the backend, but it's a OEM actually. So iFix, GE doesn't have its own data collection system. They use as a data collection system from the Capware PTC. So if you look at these systems here, if you in the core competitive advantage landscape talking about, we have uniform. We have homogeneous systems here. Like for example, we have King IO Server. It's our own platform. We can easily integrate with these systems like KingSCADA, KingView, or King Historian. And here basically we have heterogeneous interfaces. So it means the here, if you look at from the shop floor to the top floor, we have our own systems that can integrate a whole enterprise using only Wellintech systems. Of course, it has capability to integrate with all these third-party systems. So it's the meaning of this here is that in any enterprise or any factory, if you have vendors from one company, and if the company can integrate all your systems from the shop floor till to enterprise, it has a different advantage. But if you're going through a lot of systems, on the top floor is another one, top floor is another one, that means you need different kinds of skills and engineers. And maybe if there are some technical issues, you need to connect with all these companies, and then they need to fix the issues. So what it means is that there is a huge competitive advantage Wellintech offers in terms of the integration of the whole factory, and make a final product that is digital factory or a smart factory. Moving on, today's focus is basically on KingSCADA, which is a SCADA system, and this SCADA system is Windows-based SCADA platform. It doesn't have any Linux version, and it can support installations in mainly on the Windows platform, and it can also support virtual machines. So if you have virtual machines, maybe you want to put it, install it locally, or maybe you can install it on the cloud. You can deploy virtual machines, and you can install the KingSCADA, and it will run normally, and you can do all the things that we can do locally. We can also do it in the cloud. So this is a Windows system. And on the topic of KingSCADA, today I have 5 agenda, and I will try to explain briefly what is the significance of the role that SCADA plays in the industrial automation landscape, and what are the top 25 functions that we have inside KingSCADA, and some highlights of like some key features. I will just explore this, and then I will show you a demo project. And we will talk about system architecture, because system architecture is very, very important part of SCADA. So we will try to understand about the system architecture of the KingSCADA, and then I will explain briefly about the licensing, and we have some questions. So I hope you can follow, and finally we complete some questions. So first thing is SCADA in industrial automation. So what role SCADA plays in any factory or in the industrial automation landscape? Usually there are 4 major roles that SCADA plays. Or maybe you can call it a roles or aspect, or I will just use the term roles. One is data acquisition, meaning that first a SCADA system has to collect all the real-time data from various data sources. Another is data management. Once we collect the data, how do you manage this data? For example, in terms of storage, in terms of retrieval, So we have a lot of databases here. And the another data visualization, meaning that you must present this data in some ways. In the industrial automation, maybe you can call it a HTML or something. And data forwarding. This is very important in this SCADA, because if the SCADA doesn't have this ability, this role that if the SCADA cannot play, it means it's a useless system. Meaning that you cannot extract any information maybe from MES system, because this system must forward the data to maybe some other systems like MES systems or production systems. So essentially, this SCADA plays 4 roles, and these are the core functions or the roles we can say that form the foundation of industrial monitoring and digitalization, in any industrial settings. So SCADA stands for supervisory control and data acquisition, and it has these 4 roles essentially, in any factory. And KingSCADA is one of the system that has all this, that can play all this role in a very effective in a very modern way. I'm talking about. So it's one of the high-end system, and it's China's first general purpose SCADA configuration system. That means you can call it a SCADA system. Configuration means that it doesn't need a lot of programming. You can just drag and drop and maybe develop the system. No need to write maybe JavaScript or Java or any those kind of. So it means you just need to know how to drag and drop and just configure the functions. So it's one of the high-end SCADA, and it's China's first SCADA system, because before 1995, inside Chinese automation market, maybe most of the automation market was dominated by maybe Wonderware, especially InTouch, or maybe GE and those systems. And we launched a system basically called KingView. And after KingView, there is another SCADA, high-end SCADA, in order to compete in the high-end market such as water, wastewater, power, or maybe oil and gas, textile, heavy industries, this kind of. So this is called high-end SCADA. We also have something called low-end SCADA, meaning this SCADA is targeted for low-end market, and this is for high-end markets such as power and water, wastewater, etc., etc. And so we call it a factory level monitoring. That means if you have a factory, you can deploy it in the factory, and it can monitor the whole factory. It has this ability because a factory can have a lot of multiple devices, maybe 5,000 devices, or I'm not sure how many, maybe 1,000 devices. And all, if many of the systems in the market, if they connect all those communicate the devices, maybe it has some stability issues, or it can crash after some time, running maybe 1 month or 2 months later. So it doesn't happen with KingSCADA. That's why there is a reason we call it a high-end system. And if you look at the KingSCADA in terms of the roles that it plays, so for data acquisition, we have a huge number of communication drivers. And these communication drivers, I think, if you are familiar with some IT concepts such as TCP, UDP, and this kind of platform level, application level communications. So we have huge number of communication drivers inside KingSCADA, which can connect to any of the devices in the market. If it's a Chinese made, or maybe overseas. So we support a lot of communications for data acquisition. For data management, of course, you need, there are a lot of databases in the market in terms of SQL now, and there are coming non-SQL database, etc., etc. So KingSCADA can store and retrieve the data from this, maybe PostgreSQL, Oracle systems, the Redis, even MySQL. These are very common databases that we have in the market, also including our historian, that is time series industrial database. So we can store the data into the system and retrieve this, other systems can retrieve the data from this databases. And if other system has the data already present in the systems, KingSCADA can retrieve it inside KingSCADA, and you can make some visualization, etc., etc. In terms of HMI and data visualization, we have huge ability, like the features such as symbol factory and this kind of the images extension. I mean the format of the images. So we have KingSCADA has inbuilt graphics library, and you can, if you don't like the graphics library, you can also build your own graphics and make your own graphics library. So we will talk about this in a moment. And forwarding, basically, we have even in the hardware also, there are open protocols such as OPC UA and etc., and DA also. So, and web services, some APIs. So these are very important interfaces that a SCADA system has in order to forward the data to other high-level systems, such as MES systems, or if you are from a factory automation background, maybe you can have warehouse management system. So this SCADA, I mean, is very important in order to shift from an industrial perspective to informational perspective. Now everything is, there is a huge, digitalization at its peak. So we must know how to comprehensively digitize our factory, and the core thing is basically data collection and data forwarding. And it has been widely used in many industries, and we usually categorize industries into four major, the categories. Municipal, we have multiple divisions. It can be under municipal, we have multiple, sub-categories: energy, heavy industry, and light industry. And it has been used in almost. So this number is from our CRM. More or less, 71,000 plus projects worldwide, and it has been widely accepted in the overseas and the in Chinese automation market. And moving on, I just would like to give you highlights of top 25 functions that is there in the KingSCADA that has enabled KingSCADA to be deployed in many industries. And starting with multi-project management. Multi-project management, simply it means that I think hopefully everyone has played with any kind of software, maybe some HMI software or anything, So meaning this means that some software allows you to open a project, a single project. You cannot open 2-3 projects because it's not DevOps system, because it's when most of the SCADA system it will have, maybe you can open one project and then you can work on one project, and after you finish the project, then you can work on another project. So KingSCADA allows you to open multiple projects, develop multiple systems, copy paste between each other, and at the same time you can work on multiple projects. So this is what it means, multi-project management. Pictures and graphics, any SCADA system has it should have visualization capability. As I mentioned, one of the role is that it should have powerful visualization. So KingSCADA offers that features. And it should have an alarm engine. That means anything in the factory that has an anomaly, it should give us a status, or maybe it should automatically highlight that, okay, there is something wrong. So KingSCADA has a built-in powerful alarm and event engine. Data logging meaning that KingSCADA can log the data into databases, into also internal memory. KingSCADA has two kind of data management technique. One using the database that is such as SQL Server, MySQL, this kind of open source databases, or and another way that you can save the data as an internal database, which is basically disk-based. Built-in report. KingSCADA has a flexible report designer, which you can use this designer to build any kind of reports. That can be a monthly report, whether it can be a daily report, shift report, anything. It has a trend system, real-time historical trend, e-charts. That means that if you want to build some beautiful dashboard, you can use open source e-chart and import them in KingSCADA, and you can build a very beautiful the dashboard. GIS map, I think it's very important in heating, usually in heating industry, in BMS project, in oil and gas, where you can track, let's say you have a GPRS tracker, and you can track your assets, multiple assets in GPRS in real time. So we have that module in the KingSCADA. Also, we have 3D system. And we can support 3D. These are open OPC-DA. I think these are very old technology. Interface, I mean, the OPC UA is also there, no problem. Data acquisition, huge data acquisition is there. I mean, in terms of communication drivers. Security is very important. We offer usually RBAC, role-based access control. That means you define a user, then you can link a role with the users. So it's a technique is RBA. See that usually most of the common software that has they implement the security management. I mean, using this principle. KingSCADA has a network structure. I will talk about this related to system architecture of now. I think agenda number 4. Web publishing. We can deploy the project in web, and you can remotely monitor the facilities. We have mobile client also. We have MQTT. I think nowadays for IoT projects, MQTT is very important. So we also have MQTT in KingSCADA. Web services. If you are some IT guys, let's say top management, maybe an SAP system or MES system or a CRM system, they want to get some data from the KingSCADA. I mean, they can use these interfaces to access the data or maybe build a custom application. GPRS is very common. Of course, KingSCADA can, or KingView also. This is I'm talking about KingSCADA here. So it can remotely monitor the devices over GPS. It has SMS and email, and data model and graphics model, meaning efficient engineering. That means traditionally, if you have a pump, let's say, if you have a device, let's say pump, you need to configure each one of them separately. Let's say you have a 200 device, 200 pumps, but that means that traditionally you need to configure 200 pumps one by one. So in what data model and graphics model, meaning that it's a model-based engineering. So one model is created, you can instantiate or copy-paste, all of the models. Recipe management is very important in FMCG industry, and especially in the process industries. We have a recipe module inside KingSCADA. Redundancy is very important. We offer very good redundancy solutions like machine level redundancy or device level redundancy, network redundancy, and KingSCADA master slave redundancy. We can also connect video cameras. If you have IP cameras connected in your facility, we can also connect and make a video manager solutions. And we have open interfaces. So these are the highlights of top 25 functions that we have in KingSCADA that has enabled KingSCADA to be deployed in multiple scenarios, multiple ways, multiple applications, large scale, medium scale, small scale, in many industries. I will just dive into key 5 features that are very important and relevant maybe in terms of SCADA systems. And starting with the one that has KingSCADA has extensive device support, and second is rich HMI visualization, and third is model-based development. In terms of maybe I think in Siemens they call it efficient engineering. In many people, so I just use the term efficient engineering. A GIS map and video monitoring. There are other functions, but we will focus on the 5 and just see the details of this. Extensive device support, and we have a lot of devices here, including the power protocols such as IEC 101, 102, 4, and DNP3 also, including 61850. I think 61850, because it's a very big driver, I think, very big communication protocol. I think, frankly speaking, we support a part of it, not the whole 100%. 100% 61850 is not supported because it's industry specific, and we need to customize according to the customer's requirements. So it's not a standard driver, but it's a customized driver. If you are anyone here from semiconductor industry, then that means we have very good solutions for semiconductor, and it's a semiconductor industry specific protocol, which is sex and jump communication. And if you are from manufacturing, especially, we have CNC communication. Usually CNC are monitored by PLCs, but the leader in CNC machines are Fanuc, Mitsubishi, maybe. And from Europe, I think there is a brother, Mitsubishi, the companies. So we have we have drivers for CNC machines and robots, and we can directly connect to the CNC controllers, and we can monitor CNC without the help of PLC. So it's a extensive support from manufacturing, from power, from semiconductor, from is usually from automotive. Automotive is all about CNC. So we have these solutions extensive. We have extensive device support in terms of communications and data collection. In terms of SCADA and HMI visualization, basically, this is very important. For example, we have, so these are the screens developed by KingSCADA. We have a huge library here, as you can see, and we can also import these SVG graphics. And if you are trying to build a centralized monitoring center, you need a very big screen. So we support a large screen, this up to this the size, and also it has zooming capability. That if you zoom this, the quality will not be like a blur or something. It will be clear, and you can so it has huge data acquisition, data visualization features, KingSCADA, and it's a configurable system. Just need to drag and drop and configure, link tags, etc., etc. No need to write too many codes. And the third thing is very important feature, something called model-based development, or in other words, efficient engineering. So I just give you an example that let's say you are from maybe a water company or maybe a power company, and you want to maybe build a model of, let's say, an IED maybe. So maybe you need to configure maybe 16 or 20 or 50 any device, a real entity I'm talking about. So it will be really time consuming to develop this model, digital model. So KingSCADA offers a way. Basically, we can build one model and instantiate, and these are called basically model object. So we have a model and the model object, and the model object is basically an instance of this model. And what it does, basically, it reduces the development time, because configured once and use it, reusable models. That means if you change this one, wall will be changed. If you change something here, or maybe if you change something in the model, it will be propagated to all these models. So it's a very efficient way to develop a project, a SCADA project. So it significantly, basically, development times can be significantly reduced with this model-based technique, And for example, if you're talking about wonderware systems or maybe old SCADA systems, they don't have this technique. They traditionally have to do it, but we have KingSCADA offers a way, to reduce the time, and that is through model-based engineering. So we have three kinds of model. We have collection model. That means if we have, let's say, 50 PLC, you must configure each one of them. So we can create maybe they're similar. So we can create a collection model, data collection model, and we can just replace some, parameters. Or if you want to create, let's say, variables, in batches for that 50 PLCs. So we can do that, something we call collection model. I'm not going into the too much details, but there is a graphic model. KingSCADA has inbuilt graphics library, but if you want to create your own graphics library, there is KingSCADA offers a way that you can, if you are a designer, if you have like a little bit of design skills, that means you can create your own models and make your own library. So we have something called graphics model, and data model, basically the data part of that model, and these two model can be associated. Like, for example, so a pump, let's say, this is what is, maybe you can call it a graphics model, and the data message status, turning on, the colors of auto mode, manual mode, these may be related to the data. So we can, so just I'm giving a simple example. So we have three kinds of model, and using the combination of this, features, or maybe using the combination of this model, we can create and we can achieve something called efficient engineering, which can reduces development time for large projects. And GIS map, I think it's for you know we support, I think, is a Baidu map, Google map, or we can. It's a very important feature, especially in the oil and gas, heating, this kind of industries, municipal industries. So we can we have inbuilt GIS module, and we can make a GIS kind of system, and we can integrate with other system also. So this is GIS. I think it's very common. Another interesting feature is that we can build a video manager solutions. For example, you have multiple type of camera, and usually the video camera has their own protocols such as RTSP and RTC, WebRTC protocols. So we support these protocols, and if it's an IP based camera, we can connect, and these are the screens of a real project. So something, let's say, happens, an alarm happens, and you need to see a real time feed of that, what's happening. Like when the alarm happens, the video will pop up and it will give you a status, something like that. So you have video manager solutions, and usually the brand that we support is Hikvision, Daqua. I think Hikvision is very famous, and there are other, maybe there are a lot of, brands for video camera. The cameras. So if there is any brand that is not there in the that we do not support, we just need what is the protocol that it supports, and if we have some protocol information, we can develop the interface and we can connect to the KingSCADA. So that's one of our customization, R&D customization, ability. So we can do that. And I will just show you a brief demo on the just to make it interesting, how it looks. So this is the KingSCADA. When you open the KingSCADA, it will have a demo mode for 2 hours, and after 2 hours it will shut down. And then you need to, if you want to use more time, you can restart the KingSCADA and you can use 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, something like that. You can continue to use it. Let's play a demo. So this is how KingSCADA looks. Sorry. I think the video is around 2-3 minutes, I think. Yeah. So that's the runtime system. And this is just a demo project which will show some of the features or the functions. It's a functional demo. No, I am just showing this video.
Okay.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
okay. If there is any problem with the communication, maybe just you can we can. Uh, So finally, it's a video. You can, of course, it's a demo video, but we can connect to IP cameras too. And e-charts, for example, HTML-based charts, you can import those, and in the we can build this. So this is just a functional demo that I wanted to make it interesting. So we have so we can build any kind of application. It's just a features. We just a demo I'm talking about. Yeah. So this is the development environment, and where we can make screens like this and devices, and configure the system. And then for running, we can just click on the runtime, and this will be deployed in the factory. So it will be running in there. And moving on, I would like to talk a very important feature of KingSCADA, which is any SCADA, and including KingSCADA, is system architecture. So when you are talking about real projects, maybe you are in government projects and tender projects, they have different architectures. They want the system to be deployed in many ways. So it is important to understand the system architecture, how it works. And KingSCADA offers a very flexible network architecture, or you can call it a system architecture. Yeah. Starting with how KingSCADA collect data from devices. And this is what we call data acquisition structure of KingSCADA. So KingSCADA has two, usually when you install KingSCADA, you will have two components, which is KingSCADA and KingIO Server. So KingIO Server is responsible for collecting real-time data from these devices. It can be any devices here, okay? And it's a huge communication driver. So through this, you can select the driver and you can communicate. And then KingSCADA is the SCADA part of the system. So when we say in our company, basically in the Wellintech term, this system is called KingSCADA. So this is so meaning here it has a separate data acquisition system. And what I mean by here is separate acquisition. So for example, let's say you have a factory here, okay? So you have a lot of devices. So KingIO Server and KingSCADA can reside in one PC, and you can make this kind of monitoring system, and you can deploy it in the in a web. And so it's basically single site monitoring. Now, if it doesn't have a separate data acquisition system, it means when you go for multi-site monitoring, it means the KingSCADA here, maybe there may be 4 factories. Okay, so you must install KingSCADA all of the places. So here, let's say locally you do not need any dashboard or anything. So here we can deploy KingIO Server as a data collection server here, and then we can basically through IP, internet, we can deploy one KingSCADA here as a central monitoring center, and we can build this application. So we can deploy KingIO Server, which is the data acquisition part of the KingSCADA, independently. So let me repeat again that KingIO Server collects the real-time data from the shop floor, and it's a part of the KingSCADA. And KingIO Server, basically we can also we also sell it as a separate product, and it has its own licensing. But if some customer buys KingSCADA, then it will be included in the KingSCADA, and when he will install the system, it will have an option to install KingIO Server. So this is how KingSCADA data collection works. First, all the signals and the points which will be collected by IO Server, and then we will use this. And so it has its internal API, so we can use this in the KingSCADA and make a dashboard. So this is the collection. So that makes because of the separate data collection component, it makes it impossible to go from single site monitoring to multi-site monitoring easily without the need of local SCADA. If you need here, then you can install also KingSCADA as well. It's not a problem. But if you don't need, that means it will reduce the cost. So maybe you can build a centralized monitoring like this. So it has independent data collection. And I think this is very common architecture. So let's say you have a project and you just need one PC, and we need to monitor one factory. That's all. So you can connect all of them. You can deploy one KingSCADA, and we call it standalone architecture. And in standalone architecture, you always have single server, only one server. Will connect to multiple PLCs, databases, etc., etc. And in one server, basically, we can support up to 100,000 points. And these points basically including system variables, memory, etc. But the signals I'm talking about, the IO points, it can support up to 60,000. That's the maximum capability of KingSCADA. Plus other memory variables, system variables, total 100,000 in one server. That's the capability. Another type of architecture we have, let's say you have this is your shop floor, let's say. So you have one server here, but you also need some client and maybe some operator, or they will not have access to this server. They will just see the monitor and data, maybe enter some data here through some data entry form, or status of the alarm or machines. So you can do some KingSCADA client here, and with one server. So we call it CS architecture. And this client, there is a question, maybe technical question, that okay, how many clients it can connect here? Usually we 30. These are PC client. In more technically we call it this is thick client. So KingSCADA can connect. KingSCADA is one server is able to maintain 30 clients. So this is what we call client server architecture. And here for standalone architecture, we have single server, nothing. All the systems, dashboard, database, everything is resided here. Another type of architecture we have redundant architecture. And KingSCADA supports three kinds of redundancy: master slave, dual network, or device redundancy. So we have here, let's say, we can have one KingSCADA as a master, as a host, and then we have slave, and we can connect the client to the server. So this is master slave. If we have a LAN 1, let's say 2 network, we can make it as a LAN 1 and LAN 2. We can connect both of them, so we can also make it a LAN redundancy. We have device, let's say you have 2 PLCs which support dual IP, so we can connect these PLCs, make it PLC redundant through KingIO server. So we have a mechanism to make a dual device redundancy inside KingIO server. It will switch automatically. So 3 kinds of redundancy it supports. And a browser server architecture, meaning that you have server and you just don't need, you have locally maybe a plant manager here, and he just see the things, maybe something, and the other, all the people that are that need to access the server, that are, maybe they're located in a different place, and we can deploy this in a browser, so maybe through Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge, they can deploy. So it's something called a browser is accessing the server directly. So we call it a browser server architecture. And in terms of this browser server architecture, like how many mobile client or how many web client it can access, it's basically 100, but it can go up more than 100 is okay, but you will need something called load balancing, because when one server is accessed by too many people, this server must balance the load, and it's an important feature that of the SCADA, that must have a load balancing mechanism so that many people can access and see the data, like there is no lagging of the data, or there is no stopping of the data. And KingSCADA can also be deployed in distributed architecture, meaning that before it was everything was in one over here, okay. Now if I want to, maybe in some government project I saw, like it's like they need some special they have their special requirements. So you can make it as a history server separately, you can alarm engine separately, IO server separately, and you have an application server where you make changes, develop projects as a separate, and then you can deploy a web server, and then basically you can do the same thing. So KingSCADA also allows you to build and distribute architecture for your projects. And finally, it's very important that when we have one server, let's say you have a factory and you deploy one KingIO server, but you have too many clients need to access this server. At that time, maybe you need more than 100 or maybe 150. That time we something called SLB, meaning server load balancer. And when you install KingSCADA, you will find this component over here. If you install this, so that means we have one server, and let's say here, let's say many clients, let's say maybe 150 client, okay. So we can deploy this maybe to SLB, server load balancer, and this will be connected to this. All the client will access this server through this SLB, okay. So they can manage the load so that this whoever accessing from whichever the place and remotely, at least they can get the real-time data in an instant way, not without lagging, something like that. So it works. Server load balancing usually used for, we deploy it for very large systems where maybe 200, more than 200, maybe, I don't know, many systems. So this is the mechanism for server load. So we can also, we have this component here. We can install, and if there is problem with the client accessing the real-time data, maybe there is a lag, so we can do this. And finally, I want to conclude the presentation with the topic is licensing system. Now, how licensing works in KingSCADA. We offer two kinds of license for KingSCADA. One is a USB dongle, which need to be shipped or need to send through courier wherever the place, or Europe or Middle East or anywhere. We must send it from Beijing, and maybe it will take 1 week or something. Well, it depends on the location. So this type of another type is soft license, meaning that it's a computer file, you can send it to email. Yeah. Now let's take an example. Now let's say you have this system in the factory. Okay, you have maybe some devices, 2 devices, let's say, and you have a server. Now this device has maybe 500 discrete IOs, 156 integer IOs, and this device has this many IOs and integer. Okay, and discrete IO and integer. So the total IO points that basically this server is collecting is close to this one, 1214 IO points, 1214. Now how do we determine the license? And then we have a client license here. 2 clients are connected to this PC. So for this basically what you will need, we have the specification is like this. So the points here, the points meaning the IOs. KingSCADA only counts IO points. Memory and internal tags are free. That means if you need to create some memory tag or internal tag, it's free. So it counts only IO tags for license, and memory and internal tags are free. Okay, so we have a start from 64 IO points, and it's 1000, more than 1000. So 128, 50, 500, 1000. So we must buy the license for 1500, because there is no license between 1000 and 1500. So we must choose for this one. So that's the how it license work. But as you can see, there are 3 basically: development full, runtime, and development only. What does term mean is that let's start with development only. Development only meaning that KingSCADA, when you open the KingSCADA, it has 2 parts. It has a development environment and runtime environment. So with this license, you can develop the projects up to, you can create 64 points in the KingSCADA. If you try to create more than 64, it will give a pop-up that you don't have the authorization to create more tags or more IO points. So in this case, if you need to develop the project, you must go for 1500 points. Then you will be able to create this many tags. So for developer, for SI company who is developing the project, that means consider Kyland is a developer. So they will go for, or maybe an SI company. So they are developers, so they will go for development only this, and then they can develop this project. And runtime basically is for customer, who is the owner of the project. So he can buy this license. SI company can buy this license, 1500, this one, and he can deploy in the factory with this here. If there is any change required, maybe the owner will connect to the SI and they can make changes. This is the normal situation. But some situations that the end user also have the ability to understand all these things, so he will go for this one, meaning that, sorry, 1500, this one, meaning that you just need to develop the system and you just need to give the whole system to him. In the future, if there is any changes to make, end user will, or the owner of the project will do it by himself through his engineers maybe. So at that time, maybe SI company can provide development full license, and then that job is done. Finished. So contract is finished, no AMC, no annual maintenance contract, so they can do their changes in the future. So this is how we offer. And this, for this client license, there is something called CS client. So this is server license, so you will need a 1 server here and 2 common client license. We call it CS client license here. So that's the license. So if you do not have this, you will just need this license, maybe 1501 only for 1 server license. So that's the basic explanation of how KingSCADA works. And this is very important to remember that KingSCADA only counts IO points, IO integers, IO point signals that are coming from the device. Other thing, whatever you are doing, it doesn't matter. It's all free. Just count IOs, and that's the license. That's the mechanism. That's the licensing policy or the system in KingSCADA. And now I hope there are some, you hope you understood this presentation. And I was told that I must put some questions also. So I put some 10 questions. I don't know, how do you do this? Roman, I just go through this or what? The question part?
Do you mean this is a questionnaire?
Yeah, question like true and false. I think I was told to present some questions.
Oh, okay. I think we can skip this. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
We can skip this part.
Okay, no problem. Yeah. So yeah, so the final the topic that we have here is licensing, and if you have any questions, maybe you can ask. I will try to answer as precisely as possible. And that's the agenda for today. And if you need to download the software or the manuals or how to learn the systems, you can scan this QR code and it will take you to our website, and you will be able to download our software, brochure, etc., etc. And I will just give a few seconds. You can, if you are, if you have a mobile, then you can just scan it.
Okay, thank you, Shami.
Yeah,
I guess that's all from you, right?
Yes, that's all. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay, if anyone has any questions to Shami, I believe he won't be able to hear you because we're using the microphone on my laptop. So if you have any questions, please tell them to me and I will forward them to Shami.